everybody, it's Nicole Byer here with some hot takes from Wayfair. A cozy corduroy sectional from Wayfair? Yeah, that's a hot take. Go on and add it to your cart and take it. A pink glam nightstand from Wayfair? Scalding hot take. Take it before I do. A mid-century modern cabinet from Wayfair that doubles as a wine bar? Do I have to say it? It's a hot take. Get it at wayfair.com and enjoy that free shipping too.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really going deep into the life, the music, the whole legacy of Chuck Mangione. I mean, for so many of us, his music's just been there, hasn't it? A constant, almost comforting sound. And well, the news just came out today, Friday, July 25th, 2025. It confirmed his passing peacefully on Tuesday, July 22nd. He was 84.
Yeah, it's sad news. And our goal today really is to understand how Chuck Mangione, with these incredibly memorable melodies, managed to, well, not just cross genres, but really bring jazz to a massive global audience. We want to celebrate his life, definitely clarify things about his passing, but mostly get into how his influence worked. That sound he had, it was just unmistakable, isn't it? I want to explore why.
Absolutely. And we've got a really interesting mix of sources for this deep dive. Everything from, early biographical stuff that shows where his passion came from, right through to analyses of his huge cultural impact. It's a fantastic story, and I'm really keen to dig into what made his path so special. So, okay, let's unpack this. Where did it all begin? Well, he was born Charles Frank Mangione, November 29th, 1940, in Rochester, New York. And he grew up in this incredibly lively, music-filled Italian-American family. They basically surrounded him with jazz right from the start. His dad was a huge jazz fan, used to take young Chuck down to New York City, get this, to see legends like Miles Davis, Sarah Vaughan,
wow,
and even his close friend, Dizzy Gillespie.
Dizzy Gillespie as a family friend. That's amazing.
Can you imagine bebop pioneer just hanging out? And Chuck started playing trumpet when he was just 8.
Yeah, and those early experiences, I mean, they clearly shaped everything, didn't they?
Yeah.
Especially hearing players of that caliber. And then, while he was still in high school, Chuck and his older brother Gap, who's a really talented pianist himself, they formed the Jazz Brothers. Mm-hmm. They were good, too. Good enough to get recording deals with Riverside Records back in the early 60s.
Really? That early?
Oh, yeah. And those records, they really show their talent budding, and their kind of fresh take on hard bop, which for listeners, that's that more sort of aggressive, bluesy, improvisational jazz style from the 50s and 60s. So this wasn't just kids messing around. It was the real start of his professional journey.
And that journey just kept climbing, right? He graduated from the Eastman School of Music in '63, which is, a top school. His reputation started building. But then what about joining Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers? I mean, that's a legendary group. Guys like Lee Morgan, Freddie Hubbard came out of there. What impact did that have?
Oh, that was absolutely pivotal. Playing with the Jazz Messengers, that was like being thrown into this intense creative fire, It's where he really sharpened his technical skills, but also where he started developing that signature warmth, that melodic clarity that became his thing. Even though the Messengers were deep in hard bop, that experience helped him really internalize jazz improvisation while he was already thinking about pushing beyond those boundaries. It was about finding his own voice inside that really disciplined but still very expressive structure.
That makes sense. That transition from, traditional hard bop to something with much wider appeal, that's really interesting. By the early 70s, he was clearly experimenting more, fusing jazz with orchestral stuff, rock grooves, pop melodies even. What was it about that mix that was so key to his mainstream success later on?
Well, the really clever thing about what Mangione did in the early 70s was how he kept that improvisational heart of jazz, but made it just so incredibly accessible. He wasn't like watering it down. He was just expanding the toolbox.
Yeah.
You know, albums like Friends in Love in 1970 and then Belavia in 75.
Ah, yes, Belavia. Named for his mother, right? That won him his first Grammy.
Exactly. His first Grammy in 77 for that one. And those albums showed he had this real knack for crafting these big, almost cinematic instrumental pieces. He just understood that rich melodies delivered with that warmth could connect with way more people than just the usual jazz crowd.
And then came the big one. Feels So Good. Released as a single in 78 from the 77 album, that smooth, soaring instrumental featuring his signature flugelhorn.
Right, and maybe we should just clarify. The flugelhorn, it's brass like a trumpet, yeah, but it's got this wider conical bore, and that's what gives it that really distinct, warm, mellow, almost velvety sound that became his sound.
Exactly. And this song, it just became this huge cultural thing. It did something almost unheard of for a jazz track back then. It hit number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100, topped the adult contemporary chart, sold over 2 million copies, got a Grammy nomination for Best Pop Instrumental. What was it about Feels So Good? Why did it just seep into everything? Radio, TV show, yeah, even elevators.
Sure. Yeah, the elevator music thing, well, it's a few things, I think. First, that melody is just undeniably catchy. It's optimistic. It feels good.
Oh, yeah.
It's musically smart, but it sounds effortless. It just makes an immediate emotional connection.
Totally.
Second, being instrumental, it just crossed all language barriers. Universal appeal, that's key. Third, the timing was perfect. It slotted right into that growing smooth jazz and adult contemporary radio scene. So Feels So Good. It didn't just introduce jazz to millions. It was like a gateway drug, almost.
Yeah.
It proved instrumental jazz could be sophisticated and massively popular, bridging that gap between jazz improv and pop melody.
And he definitely wasn't a one-hit wonder, even though that hit was massive. He kept composing memorable stuff like Give It All You Got for the 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid. He even performed it live at the closing ceremony.
Yeah, I remember that iconic moment.
And Children of Sanchez from the movie soundtrack, that got him a Golden Globe nomination and another Grammy.
Right. Great piece.
Plus other great songs, Chase the Clouds Away, Land of Make-Believe. And of course, you always knew it was him on stage with that trademark fedora hat.
Always the hat.
Always the hat. Now, okay, so you've got this incredibly successful jazz guy, crossed over, global star, and then he gets this whole new wave of fame from, of all things, King of the Hill, playing himself, basically. This fictionalized, always cheerful, fedora-wearing spokesperson for the Megalo Mart, always popping up, playing Feels So Good in these totally weird, funny situations in the store.
Chuckles. Yeah.
It was brilliant self-parody, right, and it absolutely endeared him to a whole new generation, but was there ever a risk, do you think, that it might, trivialize his serious musical side for some people, or was it just all good?
That's a really fair question. It kind of speaks to that double-edged sword of mainstream fame, doesn't it? And yeah, maybe some jazz purists rolled their eyes a bit, I don't know. But honestly, at the end of the day, I think it was a huge win for him. It just showed what a good-natured guy he was, that he didn't take himself too seriously. Far from trivializing his legacy, I think it actually cemented it in pop culture history for people who might never have found his music otherwise.
Good point.
It showed he could connect on different levels.
Yeah.
Serious artist, yeah, but also this beloved kind of funny figure. It gave him new visibility, made millions of new fans like him even more because he was clearly in on the joke.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. It says a lot about him. And even after that huge commercial peak, he kept going, didn't he? Touring, recording, kept his fan base. He mostly retired from regular touring around 2015, but he stayed involved. Benefit concerts, tribute events.
Right.
His last studio album, Everything for Love, was back in 2000. But interestingly, he did that partnership with Primary Wave Music just last year, in 2024. So he was still engaged with his music's future.
Absolutely. Staying involved.
So when we look at the whole picture, his whole body of work, what really defines his musical style and influence, and how did he see his own music?
Well, what's really striking is how consistently he blended that jazz improv skill with really accessible pop structures.
Yeah.
His style, it was always about that melody, that instantly recognizable, warm flugelhorn tone. And he pulled in orchestral jazz, Latin vibes, funk rhythms. He wasn't just a great player, he was a brilliant composer and arranger who knew how to create a mood, an atmosphere.
No.
His own philosophy, he put it nicely once. I think our music, instrumental music especially, allows people to escape It's a place to use your imagination.
I like that.
Yeah. And that belief drove this incredibly long career over 6 decades, more than 30 albums, 2 Grammys, 14 nominations in total. And getting into the Rochester Music Hall of Fame in 2012, back in his hometown, that was a really nice fitting tribute too.
Such a huge impact. And, while his music made him very public, he kept his personal life pretty private. He's survived by his 2 daughters, his brother Gap, 3 grandkids, 2 great-grandkids, lots of nieces and nephews. His wife, Rosemary, sadly passed away before him. And just for context, his estimated net worth when he passed was reported around $8 to $10 million, which reflects, steady earnings from albums, touring, royalties especially. Feels so good, I imagine.
Oh, for sure.
Appearances, endorsements, things like that.
And yeah, as we said at the start, the confirmation is he passed away peacefully, natural causes, in his sleep at home in Rochester on Tuesday, July 22nd. The news just brought this immediate flood of tributes, didn't it? From musicians, public figures, just countless fans all over. And what really hits home with a lot of these tributes are the personal stories. People remembering how he'd sit at the edge of the stage after shows, signing autographs, actually talking to people who waited.
Really? That's great.
Yeah, that personal touch, it kind of mirrored the accessibility in his music, didn't it? He made himself approachable through his art and just as a person.
Yeah, absolutely. His passing, it really does feel like the end of an era for a truly original artist who managed to redefine what instrumental music could do. His lasting impact, it's got to be that unique ability he had to make instrumental jazz not just easy to listen to, but genuinely loved by a huge audience, proving that, beautiful melodies and real feeling can cross any musical divide. That iconic flugelhorn sound, it's forever tied to that feeling that, well, it feels so good, it's going to keep resonating, I think. So looking back, what's the core takeaway from his journey? Well, Chuck Mangione's whole journey, wasn't it? From this young kid soaked in classic jazz to a global star, it really was proof of his unique mix of jazz smarts and pop sensibility. He created a sound that was just purely, totally his own.
Absolutely, and that signature song feels so good. It's going to remain this timeless anthem. It perfectly represents his amazing ability to give jazz this universal appeal that went way beyond the usual circles and just touched millions.
So as we think about Chuck Mangione and his incredible knack for making instrumental music so widely loved, it kind of raises an interesting question for all of us, doesn't it? In a world that's often so focused on lyrics, on explicit messages, how can we maybe make more space for purely instrumental music to move us, to inspire us? Something to think about.